a born-again Christian, you need to be sensitive in the spirit, as in you need to know what is happening in the spirit realm. As in, you cannot say that you have spent a day, a week, a month without knowing what is happening in your spiritual life. That is very dangerous. That is giving room to the enemy. As in, you have to stay ahead. As a child of God, things should not happen to you by surprise. Things should not come like a surprise to you. How can you be there and you're born again and then you say, can you believe this happened to me when I didn't know? Can you believe this and this happened before me knowing? Let me tell you, if you are sensitive in the spirit, even though something is going to happen the next day, the Holy Spirit is going to come and let you know what is going on in the spiritual realm. Let me tell you a story. There's this lady, she had been staying somewhere and she had been believing God to move her from that place and take her somewhere else, because she felt like maybe she was not fitting in, but God was constantly telling her to stay in that particular place. So she kept on praying about it and enduring and waiting on God's advice on when to move. Can you believe that day she was preparing or ready to leave from that place to go shift to another place, the Holy Spirit had already spoken to this person? And when the person in charge was telling her in this period of time, I think it was like in 2 months. So this other person was telling this person, in 2 months, you need to leave this place. But this person was already ahead spiritually, and they knew what was happening in the realm of the spirit. And they just told this person, you know what, I'm leaving now. What you're telling me is a confirmation of what I've been asking for and what I've been praying for. And actually, I am already prepared. So somebody who is not sensitive in the spirit, they would have been shocked by that person's message. They would have been surprised. They would have been caught off guard. Don't allow situations to get you off guard. It didn't come as a shock to this person. So do not accept to be caught off guard. As in, I'm telling you, that is the beauty, that is the niceness, if that's the right word to use, of being friends with the Holy Spirit, of being born again, of having that supernatural power that you have. Do you know some other people on the other side, they actually go and pay and give sacrifices to get the information that we get for free from the Holy Spirit? We need to embrace it and you need to use it. And gone are the days where we think that God only talks to the prophets, God only talks to the pastors, God only talks to the righteous. God can speak to anybody. You just need to be sensitive in the spirit. This other time, I was being called in to sign a contract of how much I was going to be paid. We had negotiated with the consultant and everything. So the day prior to the day I was going to sign the contract, I had a certain dream. I was like, you know what? I know the money is going to be reduced. I knew something bad was going to happen. Not something so bad, but I knew something was going to be changed. I knew there was going to be a shift in the money that I was going to receive regards to the money we had initially talked about. So when we reached office, we talked. And the boss said, the money that we're going to give you people is this amount. So I remembered the dream I had. I'm like, okay. So because the Holy Spirit had warned me prior, I was able to accept that deduction. But if it had come as a shock, I would have been like, maybe I would have argued even with the consultant and be like, we agreed upon this money and now they're saying this money, me, I'm not signing the contract. But yet God actually wanted me to have that job. So I accepted because of what the Holy Spirit had warned me about. Now we're going back. Me with this consultant, we talked about it. I was like, you know what? I had a dream this morning, blah, 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 blah. So I knew it was going to happen. So you need to be on guard. You should not be caught off guard at any one point. It could be a job interview. It could be direction. It could be in your relationship. How does your boyfriend dump you? Or how does a relationship end when you have no clue about it? As in, someone comes and tells you now the relationship is over, and the whole time you did not know, like a month or weeks before. You should be able to know that such and such a thing is coming. Either you pray about it and God accepts it, or God is letting it be for your own good. And in some cases, these things that God reveals to us, it's for our own good. But it all depends on the relationship you have with God and the Holy Spirit. And not only having a relationship with the Holy Spirit, but you need to be sensitive to hear, to understand, to comprehend, to know what you use that information for. Another story was this lady, she was in a relationship with somebody. So she felt like in her spirit, like it was time to end this relationship, but she had no way of ending it or reason to hold on to end the relationship. So this person prayed about it. And then when they reached to tell the other person was also like a spiritual person. So they're like, you know what? You did not come to that conclusion on your own. I actually prayed for the Holy Spirit to minister you so that we part ways amicably. You see the things of the Holy Spirit? Well, the Holy Spirit doesn't like confusion. God does not like hatred between people, no matter how things were or things didn't work out. God is a God of love. So even though that relationship did not work out, God does not want you to separate in a bad way, you know? So in this situation, the Holy Spirit ministered to the other person prayed, this other person picked it in the spirit, and they were able to sit down and amicably dissolve the relationship. Do you understand? So yes, it's in even many situations regarding our future, our purpose, our destiny, who to marry, who to date, what business to do, you need to be sensitive in the spirit, you know, so that you know what you need to do in a particular season, so that you don't mess up, so that you don't fall into trouble, so that you do not make losses that you could have avoided if you were sensitive in the spirit. Another advantage of being sensitive in the spirit is that the Holy Spirit can even warn you and stop you from doing something that could have brought, let's say, disunity, that could have brought quarrels in your home, and they warn you prior to that thing happening, so that when this thing happens, you have already been warned on what you need to do. You have already been warned on how to handle it. You know, so as a child of God, nothing should come as a surprise to you. You know, people around you may not understand you, and the things you do may not if someone is not spiritual, they may not understand you, but you should never ever be caught off guard. Like the story I first shared, this lady thought maybe she was going to shock this lady, that this lady did not see it coming, her telling her to leave in 2 months. No, this other person was already ahead of that person, you know. That is the beauty of the Holy Spirit. This person was already ahead. They had already prepared. They were mentally prepared. They were even physically prepared. As in, this person was in shock. They're like, you're leaving now? The person is like, yes. Why? Because this person was a spiritual person, and nothing should ever happen to you without you knowing. The Holy Spirit can even tell you about people who are going to die. You know, one, either you pray to stop it when it's an attack from the enemy, or when God is letting it happen, so that you prepare emotionally, so that when it happens, it is not a shock. I have so many scenarios where I have been sensitive in the spirit, and it has saved me a whole lot of trouble, money, drama, you know. So I urge every child of God, every minister out there, you need to be sensitive in the spirit. You need to know who to position where in ministry. But you're not going to do that if you're not sensitive in the spirit. You're not going to be able to do that if you can't discern. Not only being sensitive in the spirit, but you also always have to ask for the spirit of discernment, so that you can discern and know which spirit is giving me this revelation, you know, and how to use that information. And all these things, God is giving me this information after me being spiritually mature and having more emotional intelligence. Because there are some things that God can reveal to you, and then you just break down and cry. Then the Holy Spirit is not going to reveal to you that information, you know. And sometimes God will know that you're not able to handle that particular information at that particular time, and He will not reveal it to you. But if someone is mature, someone is learning how to use the information wisely, the Holy Spirit will always reveal to you things before they happen. So people around you may not understand you. It may come as a shocker, but those that understand the things of the Spirit, sometimes you may even warn people. You may warn people, but then they don't take your advice. You know, here when you're talking to people, and then you pick something in the spirit, because you're sensitive in the spirit, then you tell them, they may act as if they have understood, but when they have not really taken your advice. You know, some people think that maybe it is your own words or your own thoughts. So it's up to them also, the receivers, to see that they are sensitive in the spirit and they have the spirit of discernment to know what spirit is talking through this person. Because the Bible also says that test the spirits, you know. So me, I'm just a messenger. You test the spirit. And also you pick out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. All in all, being sensitive in the spirit, by the way, is very, very important. And when you don't know what is going on spiritually, you need to worry. You need to see what you need to do to correct it immediately, ASAP. Because you're not going to be able to see the arrows that the devil is shooting at you. You're not going to see the disasters that the devil is planning. You're not going to see what direction you need to take. As in, you're going to be confused. You're not going to be any different from any other person. One of the things that separates us from the people of the world is being able to tap into the realm of the spirit, and also having the spirit of discernment and understanding that information and use it wisely. Some people in the kingdom of darkness, they have to go to a sorcerer. They have to give a sacrifice to be able to get things from the spirit. But here we are as children of God. God is giving us that information for free. We need to use it wisely. You know, we need to use it to our advantage, so that we don't make mistakes, so that we don't make losses, so that we don't stay in relationships that God has ordained to end. To sum all of this up, we need to be sensitive in the spirit so that things do not get us by surprise, but we need to be ahead of the people around us. We need to be ahead of the people that we work with. We need to be ahead of the people that we are staying with in our own household. We need to be ahead of the devices of the devil, so that we don't fall into his trap. That's all I had to share with you today. Love and peace from me to you. Until next time, bye.